Happy Tuesday! My name is Alan.
And my name's Nick.
And welcome
into the dungeon. Landar rushes towards Torin. Torin!
Landar!
Torin! Are you alright, Torin?
Yes, I'm okay. I've seen better days, but I'll make it.
Fortunately for the Lone Wolves, they have won the combat in 5 rounds or less. Just to clarify, it's 5 rounds, which means that both of us attack. So we've done it in less than 5 total rounds. So we're turning to section 272. Had we taken longer, we would have gone to section 324. As the vile Akra Neonor quivers and dies, Vonatar breaks off mind combat and runs back towards the Brumalmark throne. Loikaimar is badly shaken, but he has survived the ordeal. He quickly joins the brothers at the edge of the moat and casts a handful of herbs down into the darkness. Within seconds, a mass of vines and creepers coil upwards to form a bridge. The brothers are halfway across the bridge when Vonatar suddenly reappears. A crystal rod held high in his hand, he takes aim at the mass of creepers, and a chilling cone of frost hurtles from the rod's tip. We've got 2 options here. If we possess a summer sphere, which we do, we turn to section 213. The other option would have had us pick from the random number table. So fortunately we don't need to do that.
That's great. I have a question though. Are you able to lose the Summersford at some point?
I don't know. I guess it's asking because the book series says you can start at any book.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
So I guess it's for players that jump straight into book 3. But anyway, we turn to section 213. Landar points a Summersford towards Vonatar's crystal rod. In an instant, the cone of frost arcs away from the bridge and shatters against the golden sword. The brothers hear Vonatar curse them as once again the power of the Summersford saves the Lone Wolves from his destructive magic. We're turning to section 252, no options here, but I've just remembered, we need to add 2 points of endurance now, 1 for the previous section and 1 for this one. So Torin's up to 12 out of 24, halfway, and Landar is up to 25 out of 33.
I have a feeling we might need as many endurance points as we can get.
Yeah, no doubt.
Your time has come!
Shouts out a voice, but it is Loikaimar, not Vonatar, that now speaks. A knot of herbs flies through the air and hits Vonatar squarely in the chest. In an instant, the hunchback wizard is engulfed in a tangle of vines that ensnare him from head to toe. Loikaimar bridges the moat with more creepers and joins the brothers on the platform.
Be sure to remove his rings and amulets,
He says as he busily searches for his guild staff.
He is a master of trickery. We would not want him to miss the special homecoming that awaits him in Summerland.
The brothers marvel at the old man's composure. After such a desperate fight, he seems completely unruffled.
Well, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Here she is.
He announces triumphantly as he withdraws his guild staff from beneath the Brumalmark throne. Landar takes out his map. Here, Loikaimar. This is exactly where we need to go. This is where our ship, the Cardinal, is.
Child, worry not. I shall not be needing that. Maps are invariably wrong. I prefer to lie on my own sense of direction.
Landar rather sheepishly puts his map of Kalte back in his backpack. The old magician raises his staff and a dazzling beam of light shoots from its tip. He makes 3 wide sweeps of the air, and the whole of the Brumalmark is transformed into an umbrella of colour. We're turning here without any options to section 350 as we gain another endurance point each back. I honestly think that there's no way of completing these books without the Kai discipline feeling.
It would be harder, for sure. Top tip, get that discipline.
Yeah, you heard it here first, I2TD. As the colours fade, Landar and Torin become aware of a sudden drop in temperature. They now stand upon the Lushk ice shelf at a point less than half a mile from where the Cardinal lies at anchor. Loy Kaimar and Vonatar close by, both shivering in the crisp morning air. Within minutes, the brothers, their new companion Loy Kaimar, and their prisoner Vonatar are sighted by the ship's lookout, and a longboat is swiftly dispatched. As a wriggling Vonatar is hoisted unceremoniously aboard the Cardinal and deposited in the brig, the captain is the first to congratulate the brothers on their skill and daring.
How on earth did you manage to return so quickly? We were not expecting you for another 10 days. Let us say that the wisdom of the Kai and the law of the Magicians Guild can surpass the limitations of even time itself. So you're time travelers?
A puzzled expression crosses the captain's face, but is gradually replaced by a smile as he begins to understand the magician's curious answer.
Their journey to Anskaven is swift, but the brothers are saddened by the memories of the brave guides that were left behind. Their arrival in the port is greeted by an anxious crowd. They fear that their early return is a sign of their mission's failure. When the news of Vonator's capture becomes known, the brothers' warrior skills are required once again. This time, in the defense of their enemy against a seething mob of outraged Sommerlending that assault Anskaven Gaul. Safe passage is eventually secured to Torin, where trial awaits the traitor. Upon the dawn of the Feast of Mizmon, in the depths of the Guild Hall of the Crystal Star, Vonator, the traitor, is tried by his brotherhood and found guilty of his terrible crimes. He is led away in silence to the deepest chamber of the Guild Hall, wherein lies the Dazion, a portal of total darkness, the door of an eternal prison from which there can be no escape.
The lone wolves are the avenger of his crimes, and it is they who cast the wretched traitor into the limbo of the Dazion. Their mission is now completed. The lone wolves have survived the caverns of the Kalta and freed the Summerland from the menace of Vonatar. But the heat of battle and the challenge of a new and desperate quest awaits our brothers, Landar and Torin, in Book 4 of the LoneWolf series, The Chasm of Doom. Dun dun dun!
And there is where we're gonna end it. No, that's where we should have ended it, probably last week, but we didn't know we were coming to the end. But worry not, we can now play Book 4.
The Chasm of Doom.
The story so far. Ruanon is a remote mining province to the south of the brothers' homeland, Sommerland. Nestling between the sullen peaks of the Dunkrag and Macken Mountains, the people of this province have long prospered from the toil in the ore-rich mines, living and enjoying their wealth under the protection of their lord, Baron Vanalund. The gold and gems that are mined at Ruanon yield an important source of revenue to the brothers' homeland. The heavily guarded convoy of wagons that leave the province and journey to the capital has become a regular monthly routine. A routine that had never been broken until 1 month ago, when suddenly all contact with Ruanon ceased. A troop of 100 cavalry from the King's Guard were immediately dispatched to investigate the whereabouts of the missing convoy. The commanding officer, Captain Dval, was ordered to report back to the king as soon as contact was made, but he and his men have not returned. They too have disappeared without trace.
The king has summoned the brothers, Landar and Torin, the lone wolves, the last of the Kai lords, to his citadel at Homeguard. Their quest is to find Captain Dval and his men, discover what has happened to the missing convoy, and to uncover the veil of mystery that now hangs over Ruanon. The king has gathered a company of border rangers, a unit of elite scouts, all of whom are skilled in horsemanship and outdoor survival. He has ordered that these 50 men accompany the brothers in the hope that with their leadership, they may succeed where the larger and more visible force failed. As the lone wolves and their men enter the royal armory to equip themselves for the long ride ahead, they glimpse a black crow perched on a window ledge high above. It flies away, but not before a shiver has run down the spines of the brothers. For in Homeguard, the crow is a bird of ill omen.
As it should be, because last time we saw a crow, we encountered that Helghast that killed us immediately.
Oh shit, does that mean the Helghast are back? Revenge of the Helghast. We're now at the point of a new book, which, as you know by now, this being book 4, where we get to choose a bonus Kai discipline to add to our action chart. The way that we've been doing it is that we alternate. So the last book, Landar chose a new Kai discipline. There's now over to Torin. What tickles your fancy?
Well, obviously, as we've been leveling up and getting more disciplines, there's less to choose from. So let's go down the list and see what we haven't chosen. I could choose a weapon skill, even though Landar already has that discipline. I don't think it's something that kind of... I don't know. Should we double up on disciplines?
Well, it's one that just gives you a combat ratio. So it's not like a skill where it's going to tell us if you have this discipline, go to this page, or you can use it. It's more to boost your combat ratio.
Yeah, but I don't feel both of us should be boosted. The same way you wouldn't get Mind Blast, I suppose, right?
Well, I think Mind Blast and Mind Shield, because they are things that affect combat rather than choices in the book. I don't see an issue with both of us having them. It's no difference to both of us having picked up a set of chainmail or a shield or...
True, that's true. So I could get a weapon skill, I could get Mind Shield, I could get Animal Kinship, or I could get Mind over Matter.
That crow makes me think that there's those Helgas back, which used Mind Blast, but then again, the power of the sword blocks magic, so they wouldn't be able to use it. So I don't know if you need to use it. So.
Yeah, we wouldn't need Mind Shield, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for Animal Kinship. Just because, I don't know, it's something different.
It's proved useful in the past.
Yeah, if we would have had it, we wouldn't have had to kind of cheat. But at the same time, I don't think it's gonna come up much more.
I dispute the fact that we cheated.
Well, you know.
The book was broken.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just making it easier to understand what I mean. But yeah, I'm gonna go for Animal Kinship.
Alright, this skill enables a Kai Lord to communicate with some animals and to be able to guess the intentions of others.
Let's see the intention of that crow.
So we're going to add that to Al's action chart. So just as a reminder, Torin has the Kai discipline of healing, which allows us to get that very, very useful +1 endurance point for each section without combat. He has Sixth Sense, Mind Blast, and now Animal Kinship, whereas Landar has +2 combat skill when he's using an axe, which unless we find a summer's axe, he's not going to use. We don't need a meal when instructed to eat because he's got the Kai discipline of hunting. He also has tracking and camouflage, so we've both got 4 each now.
In theory, we would both be Warman or Journeymen. Like, that would be our rank in the guild.
Yeah, well, we're the Kai Lords now, so
Yeah.
there is no guild.
But yeah, that would be our rank, because you rank up as you get new Kai disciplines. And we have 8 in total now, which is Journeyman. With that out of the way, we move over to the equipment section. Before leaving Homeguard on their ride south, the brothers are given a map of the Southlands, a badge of rank that they wear upon the sleeve of their tunic, and a pouch of gold. Now, to find out how much gold is in the pouch, we need to pick a number from the random number table as usual, and then we add 10 to the number that we pick.
Okay, so first rolls of the new book, The Chasm of Doom. I'll go first this time.
Not bad.
Yeah, so I rolled a 6, which means I get 16 gold, but we can only have a maximum of 50, which I don't think is going to be an issue here. Landar's got 34 gold crowns. Over to Torin now.
Is a 0 a 10 or a 0 here?
I'll say it's a 10.
Well,
Hey!
I'm glad that we cleared that up before I rolled, because I rolled a 0. So I get 20 gold crowns. I've got 39, so we might have a problem with getting 50. I'm almost there.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever got this much gold between us. So.
Nope.
Then again, there hasn't really been much need for it so far, other than to pay the ticket and...
Yeah, the carts rides and all that.
Yeah. So now we may take our pick of the following items, in addition to the items we already possess. But we've got to remember, we can only carry 2 weapons. Landar already has the Summersford and his trusty old axe, and Torin currently carries his Dark Lord sword and a bone scimitar.
I'll say that I dropped the Dark Lord sword at some point. I wouldn't be wanting to carry that kind of weapon, I don't think. I did when the need arose, but now that we've settled and all that, I would have kind of, I don't know, dropped it somewhere. But we are able to take 6 of the following. So we've got the weapons, a warhammer or a dagger. We've got 2 potions of Lampspur. Those are backpack items, and each of these restores 4 endurance points. We also got sword, a spear, 5 special rations. Each of these special rations counts as 1 meal, and each takes up 1 space in your backpack.
So basically it's just a normal ration.
I don't know. Yeah, I suppose. 5 special rations. You get 5 meals. That takes up all the space in your backpack then, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It says each one takes up 1 space in your backpack, so yeah.
That makes sense. Anyway, you've got a mace, chainmail, waistcoat that I think we still have. This adds 4 endurance points to your total. We did have that, didn't we?
No, we lost it and we didn't get a choice to get it back.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we've got leather armor at the moment. So this would double our endurance points.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry, I'll clarify. Double the endurance points that the leather armor gives, which is a +2. This would give a +4.
Okay. And then we have a shield. This adds 2 points to our combat skill when used in combat. And it says we can choose 6 of these. Would it be 6 between both of us or 6 each?
Last time we each took the items that were available, so 6 each. We're doing this because we are doubling the endurance points, so...
Yeah. Well, it's a no-brainer. I'm taking the shield.
We've got a shield already.
Oh, do we? Okay. Then I'm taking the chainmail.
Alright, so that's +2 endurance points. I'm just going to add that to your chart. So you are now on a max of 26. And I'm going to replace your leather armor with chainmail. So that's 1.
Then I'm taking the Lampspur potion. Lampspur, or whatever it's called. Lampspur.
That was 2 potions, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 potions of Lampspur that go in the backpack. I imagine it takes a section each, a slot each.
Yeah, they do.
I only have 1 slot left in my backpack. I have 2 furs in there, I don't know why.
2?
2 furs, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose we can drop those now. We're going to the south, which I'm guessing is hotter
Yeah.
than the north.
I'll keep it just for now. And then it's pretty much weapons, right?
Weapons and rations.
So for my last choice, I think I'm going to go for the special rations, and I've been thinking about it. I don't know if it's meant to be like this, but to me it reads like this. 5 special rations, meals. Each of these special rations counts as 1 meal. So you have 5 special rations that count as a meal, and each takes up 1 space in your backpack. But it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm clutching at straws here, but it's like a box of 5 special rations that take 1 space in your backpack. But each of them count as a meal. Is that what it is?
That's what it sounds like to me. Almost as if you've got like a, you know, like when you buy a multi-pack in the supermarket?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
We're gonna go with that? 5 special rations. And that's it. I don't think I'm gonna take anything else. I don't really need weapons, and my bags are actually full now.
Okay, so over to Landar. Landar is likewise going to replace the leather armor for chainmail. So he gets +2 to his endurance points, taking up to 35. He's also going to take the 2 potions. He's also going to take a pack of those special rations, because something tells me that if we're going south, for some reason that's giving me visions of like wastelands or deserts. So I'm going to take that in case we can't hunt. I'm going to drop the furs. Torin's got 2 anyway, so worst case, we can share. I'm good for weapons. Are we saying that we can double up on the potions or no? Because it says here 2, so we're saying there's only 2 each available, basically.
I would say so, yeah.
I think that's Landar done then as well, because he already has a shield, he's got an axe, he's got the Summersford. Yeah, he's not going to take anything else. On we move.
So with that out of the way, we can now begin the book. For 3 days, the brothers lead the brave company of rangers across the lush plains of southern Sommerland on the first stage of their urgent mission. The flat, treeless fields surround them with a seemingly endless expanse of wheat, so high that even though the brothers are in the saddle, it reaches well above their knees. The horses seem to be swimming through a vast yellow sea of corn that is only interrupted by an occasional track or group of isolated farmhouses. The southerners welcome the Kai Lord's sudden appearance, but they only make the briefest stops for food and rest. neither wishing to risk becoming a burden nor alarm the good people with their mission.
By noon on the 4th day, the Kai Lords reach the pass of Moitura. Here the plains give way to the broken foothills of the Doomcrag Mountains. The brothers soon reach a highway, the surface cracked and full of potholes, heading off towards the south. This is the notorious Ruanan Pike. South of the pass, the Ruanan Pike crosses 100 miles of open territory, known as Raiders Road. Bandit tribes from the wildlands and Giak war bands from the mountains of the west frequently ambush those who travel along the pike, and the regular shipment of gold and gems from the mines in Ruanan has sometimes yielded rich pickings to these merciless robbers.
Point and flankers!
Torin shouts out, and immediately 3 groups of rangers peel away from the column and spur the horses to a gallop. The brothers watch with pride as the expert horsemen take up their scouting positions to the front and side of the company. It is late afternoon when a ranger scout approaches the company from the west. He points towards a craggy outcrop where a thin spiral of wood smoke betrays a hut hidden beneath the overhanging rock. We're presented with 2 options here. If we wish to investigate the hut, we turn to 160. If we wish to ignore the hut and continue on the ride along the Ruanan Pike, we turn to 273.
What do you think, Landar? Should we investigate?
I fear it could be an ambush, Torin. This place is ripe with bandits and Giaks. I think we should move on.
If it were an ambush, they wouldn't have a log fire going. We can see them a mile away, Landar.
That ranger did say it was hidden. Obviously not very well. Could make sense to investigate. Perhaps they've got information on the missing company and Captain Duval.
That's what I was thinking.
We've got a consensus then, 160?
Yeah. It goes against really what we've always been saying, just ignore shit and keep going.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's a new book.
And we need to find information on what's happened.
Yeah, let's go. Turn to 160. An escort of 5 rangers accompanies the brothers along the twisting, narrow track that leads to the hut. The stone walls are covered with a damp moss, into which is set a curious oval door. There are no windows. The brothers dismount and are approaching the door when suddenly a man's voice calls from inside the hut.
Come in, LoneWolf. I've been expecting you.
Well. We are given 2 options. 3 options, actually. If we wish to open the door and enter, we turn to section 84. If we wish to draw our weapon and kick open the door, turn to 205. And if we wish to send our rangers into the hut, we turn to 306.
I mean, we're leading this band of merry men. I don't think it's going to look very leadery if we send the rangers in.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a sign of weakness.
Yeah. I mean, usually Landar's quite cautious, but he's feeling a bit more emboldened after these last few adventures. He's kind of leaning towards kicking the door in.
Ooh, really? With your weapon out? Really?
He's concerned that he knows it's a LoneWolf and he hasn't even seen this. There's no windows. There's nothing. He's thinking this is a damn Helghast.
You think this is a trick?
Yeah.
Yes. I think Torin is feeling the same as Landar. We've experienced these kind of traps before, and we're not going to get caught with our pants down this time. So we wish to draw our weapons and kick open the door.
We're turning to 205.
Let's go.
The oval door crashes inwards, and a cloud of dust billows out of the hut.
I'm alone. You have nothing to fear from me, LoneWolves.
We'll be the judge of that!
Tightening their grips on the weapons, the brothers cautiously enter the stone hut. We've got no option here but to turn to section 84.
In the dim light of the interior, the brothers see an old man seated at a table. The flicker of a log fire is all that illuminates this foul-smelling hovel, yet it sheds enough light for the brothers to see the clutter of charts and strange instruments that crowd the hut. The man slowly raises his gaze from a large crystal sphere and bids the brothers to sit opposite him.
You know our names. How?
The stars foretold our meeting long ago, LoneWolves. Be not alarmed by my knowledge, for I wish only to aid you.
He replies, slowly passing his withered old hands around the sphere. He then produces a small scroll of parchment from within his robe, and he hands it to Landar. Upon the scroll is written the following verse.
When the full moon shines over the temple deep, the sacrifice will stir from sleep the legions of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of the Makangord shall rise to claim the long-awaited reward.
What does that even mean?
The old man does not answer. He seems to have fallen into a deep trance. The brothers lean across the cluttered table to awaken him, and are shocked to see their hands pass straight through his body. Gradually, his image begins to fade. Within seconds, he has disappeared completely.
By the gods, Torin. What on earth is going on here?
I don't know. I'm gonna keep this scroll, Landar.
There must be some meaning to this. What sacrifice was there from this sleep? Do you think perhaps somebody intends to use Captain Deval as a sacrifice?
I don't know, but the legions of a long-forgotten lord. I don't like the sound of that.
Well, the king is not long forgotten as far as I'm concerned, even though we have a legion with us.
The dead of Mackengorge is talking about the rising of the dead army.
We must be careful.
I've got a chill, Landar. Let's get out of here quickly.
Let's also keep an eye out for a fair royal maid as well. We're given no choice here but to turn to section 273, but not before we add that scroll to Torin's action chart.
We mark it in the special items list.
The lone wolves have ridden less than 5 miles when they see a group of wagons on the highway ahead. They're painted in a gaudy mix of bright colours and drawn by teams of oxen. A huge tasseled banner flies above the leading wagon, which bears the following proclamation: the famous Assager players, troubadours to the imperial courts of Magnemund. We've got a picture here of this banner. It's got a rather freaky looking woman in a robe with a wiggly sword. And there appears to be like 2 bards. One that looks almost as if he's a ghoul by the looks of it, playing a banjo.
I think he's just ugly. I don't think he's a ghoul.
And then another one that kind of looks a bit like those diplomats did in Medieval 2.
Yeah, he has like a Napoleon hat going on for some reason.
Yeah, but then he's wearing like, not like a court jester's uniform, but like a medieval sort of royal court person.
Well, they are imperial troubadours.
We've got 2 options here. We can stop these traveling minstrels and question them, or we can ignore them and let them pass.
I'm thinking to question them.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer at this point. We need information on Captain Deval.
Yep. So we turn to section 37. Landar signals to the driver to stop. The wagons halt, and a small moon-faced man in a bright pink tunic throws open the rear door of the leading carriage. He shouts and curses the driver as he descends the ladder, pausing only to adjust the cummerbund that barely covers his huge stomach. Seeing your men, he lets out a strangled shriek and fumbles for a short sword hanging at his side.
Bandit! Robbers!
He cries and wrestles to free his sword from his ornate scabbard. A row of anxious faces appears at the wagon windows, but the expressions soon change to a smile when they recognize their Somlending uniforms.
Calm yourself, Yesu! They are summoning rangers! They will not steal our gold!
Shouts an elderly woman. Laughter ripples along the carriages as a little fat man suddenly unsheathes his sword with such force that he spins around and tumbles to the ground.
You must forgive Yesu! He means you no harm! Raider's road has made him a nervous wreck!
The brothers question the old woman, asking her where they have come from and their destination. You learn that they are a troop of players and have journeyed many miles from their native land of Croatia in the east. They last played for the people of the Eshna, but it was a disappointing show. It seems that the town was as quiet as the grave. Those who did not come to see them were a sad, sorry crowd. They are now bound for Homeguard, and hopefully a more appreciative audience.
We'll be happy to entertain you all with songs and dancing!
The brothers notice a hopeful look in the eyes of their men as they await your decision. If we wish to set up camp with the troubadours, turn to 182. If you decide to press on to Ruanon, turn to 247. I think we should press on to Ruanon.
Yeah, I'm thinking, camping out here with music and dancing is just going to make us sitting ducks to robbers and banditos and giaks and all those horrible, nasty things that are awaiting us in the wastelands.
And I don't 100% trust these people, to be fair. This guy had a sword and he was quick to...
But I mean, he fell flat on his stomach.
They are showmen. I think this is all a show. It's all an act. They're waiting for us to get happy and drink and get merry, and then they ambush.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should press on to Ruanon.
Yeah. I'm sorry to our men that were looking forward to the party, but we need to move on.
With me, we march on.
So we turn to section 247.
The Kylord's men look disappointed at the decision, but Landar and Torin are their commanding officers, and they are elite soldiers of the Summerland. They neither argue nor grumble as they follow the brothers southward. Darkness soon engulfs the highway, and they are forced to stop and set up camp by the roadside. The men gather firewood, and a guard is posted on the horses. The brothers are hungry, and must now eat a meal, or lose 3 endurance points. I'm going to say that because it doesn't say we're in a wasteland at the moment, Landar can hunt, which he diligently does, so we don't need to eat a ration. The night then passes without incident, and at dawn the brothers and their men break camp and continue along Raiders Road. We're presented with a random number table which we need to roll on. There's 2 brackets, 0 to 4, which would take us to section 171, 5 to 9, which takes us to section 25. You know the drill by now, we're both going to roll, and if we both roll within the same bracket, we proceed there. If we do not, the higher of the 2 will roll again. So I'm going to roll first. That's a 7.
And I will roll now, and that's a 4.
So those are 2 different brackets. So I'm going to roll again, and this will be the deciding roll, which chooses our fate. Oh, 0, so the first option it is. Section 171.
Mile after mile, the brothers ride across the flat and desolate landscape surrounding the Ruanon Pike. We have now entered the wildlands south of the pass of Moitura, and we cannot use the Kai discipline of hunting to hunt for food in this desolate area. Yet, in despite of the uninspiring view, the men seem in fine spirits. They sing rousing marching songs to relieve the tedium of the journey and help to allay fears of what may lie ahead. During the afternoon, storm clouds gather above the peaks of the Dunkrag mountains to the west, and the roll of distant thunder warns of imminent rain.
It's late afternoon when scouts sight a coaching tavern on the highway ahead. There's a large stone building that has been fortified. Torin, I think we should stop for the night.
I agree, Landar. We shouldn't brave the storm. It's not a good idea.
No, the last thing we want to do is lose men to sickness. We need everybody fighting fit.
And that tavern looks fortified.
Men, to the tavern.
We owe you one.
So we were presented with 2 options here, which was to stop at the tavern for the night, which we're doing, and turning to section 63. The alternative would have been to brave the possible storm and continue to ride south by turning to section 141.
So 63 it is.
The sound of a tolling bell drifts across the barren landscape. Window shutters slam down, but eyes still peer at the brothers and their men from the arrow slits carved into the walls. The lone wolves draw their company to a halt outside the wide tavern doors. We're summonending. We seek shelter for the night and fodder for our mounts. There is a long pause before a voice answers Landar's call. We are to pick a number from the random number table to discover the nature of this reply. I'm going to say it's over to Al to roll first this time. I've rolled first the last 2.
Okay, I rolled 2.
And I've rolled a 6. So these are different brackets. It would have been 0 to 4 and 5 to 9. So I'm going to roll again to determine what happens. That's a 7. So we're turning to section 95.
What proof have we that you're not bandits in stolen uniforms?
What can the brothers say or do that will convince them that they speak the truth? We're presented with 2 options here. If we wish to say that we're Kylords and that our men are border rangers of Summerland, we turn to section 259. If we wish to show them our badges of rank, we turn to section 195. My gut feeling is that if we show them the badge of rank, they're just going to think that we stole this as well, along with the uniforms. I'm a bit concerned about telling them we're Kylords though. Although we have got 50 men with us. We should be alright.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. As you say, if you've stolen the uniform, you've stolen the badge of rank too, right? Yeah, well, it's not proving anything at this point. I think our only option here is to tell them that we're the Kylords.
Yeah, I agree. We're turning to section 259.
Go away!
Shouts a nervous voice.
We're a tavern, not a barracks.
Shouts another. Landar and Torin try to reason with them, but they are adamant. They will not let the Kylords nor their men enter. The lone wolves have no choice but to continue along the highway with their men.
We have no option but to turn to section 141, and I feel that we're gonna have to brave the storm.
No doubt.
The brothers have not ridden far when a storm cloud breaks directly overhead and torrential rain crashes down. Within minutes, the dry and dusty highway is transformed into a quagmire. It will be impossible to set up camp in this storm, so the brothers resolve to continue to ride all night in the hope that the storm will soon pass. During the night ride, The brothers must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. So we'll take off a meal from our backpacks. I had 7, I'm down to 6 now. And Landar had 6, which takes him down to 5. By morning, the rain has ceased, but the brothers and the men are now very tired from the ordeal.
We've got no option here but to turn to section 253. Landar and Torin are about to order their men to make camp when a scout gallops towards them from the east. He points to a line of horsemen on the horizon.
Bandits!
The brothers estimate that there are at least 200 of them, and they're riding in their direction. There's 2 options here. If we have reached the Kai rank of Warman, which we have, we turn to section 72, and if we have not yet reached this level of training, we'd have turned to 135. So 72 it is.
The flat wild lands offer no cover in which to hide from the bandit horde. The brothers know that if they are to avoid combat with an enemy which vastly outnumbers them, they must split up their company and try to outrun them.
Oh, never split the party.
They detach a troop of 10 rangers to follow them and send the remainder off towards the west, in the hope that they may lure the bandits away from the Dunkrag mountains. With one last glance at the enemy, the brothers lead the 10 rangers on a deadly race along the Ruanon pike. We have no options but to turn to section 211.
The brothers' tactics have worked. The bandits ignore the small group of horsemen and pursue the others towards the west. Once they reach the wooded foothills of the Dunkrag mountains, the brothers' rangers will have no difficulty evading the enemy amongst the densely packed firs. When the bandits have disappeared from view, Torin calls a halt and allows the men to rest. In spite of the number of men that the brothers have lost, they are still eager to continue their mission. We've got to pick, again, a number from the random number table. I starting to feel this is a bit too random now for my liking.
Yeah, it's not really up to our decisions at this point.
So yeah, you know the drill. 0 to 4 is one result, 5 to 9 is the other. You want to roll again first?
Yeah, let me go. That's a 4
So that's the first tier.
and a 7.
So I've got to roll again then.
Yeah.
Ended up with a 4, so we're going with section 51.
The brothers have been riding for over 4 hours when they see a flock of birds. They are black and very large and are swooping around the brow of a distant ridge. Ooh. If we have the Kai discipline of animal kinship, which we now do, we turn to section 227. If we wish to investigate the ridge, we turn to 328. If we would rather ignore the birds and press on, we turn to 120. What are you thinking, ignore or animal kinship? I'd like to use my new discipline, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think we need to, because it doesn't say if we have and wish to use. So.
Okay, so if you have it, turn to section 227. So it's section 227.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, I think it said you could speak with some animals, or you could sort of determine the intention of them as well. So
Yeah.
227 it is. What are those birds, Torin?
The carrion crows! A despicable breed of wildland scavengers! Whenever a creature lies dead in the wastelands, you can be sure to find a host of these lonesome predators.
Perhaps it's Captain Devar.
Maybe. Should we take a closer look, Landar?
I think we must. Our mission is to find him.
Let's go! Yeah.
So we had 2 options. Take a closer look at what they're eating, section 328, or ignore them and continue our ride by turning to section 120. So in a very different fashion to the previous book, we're not just pressing ahead, but I think that reflects the quest as being placed before us. So as the brothers reach the top of the ridge, a gruesome sight meets them. The bodies of men and horses lay scattered across the shallow valley beyond, their bones picked clean by the scavenging crows. The brothers hear the gasps of horror as their men recognize the armor and tattered white uniforms of the skeletons. For they were once the brothers' countrymen, some lending guards of the king's cavalry. They must have died in battle, for the corpses of the bandit warriors lie entwined amongst them. 40 brave soldiers, nearly half of the squadron that left Homeguard 1 month ago, now lie before the Kai Lords. It is with a heavy heart that the men set about the grisly task of burial. Ooh, I wonder if Captain Deval is amongst the dead.
We'll have to ask the scouts if they spotted him.
Not only that, but both we and you, our loved listeners, are going to have to wait until next week to find out.
Because this is where we're gonna end it.
You gotta tune in next week. But if you can't wait a whole week to get your Into the Dungeon fix, make sure to visit our website www.i2td.com and follow the links there to all our good stuff, our social media pages, our Discord channel, our YouTube channel, which basically has the these same episodes on there. But yeah, follow all our links, get involved in the conversation, and why not visit our Buy Me a Coffee page and get involved in the story. Be a part of our adventure.
You cannot join any of those membership tiers or wish not to. Don't worry, you can still help us out by liking, subscribing, following us on our social media accounts. We got the X, we got the Instagram, though we don't use it. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it's true. We barely use it. There's a lot of things. But follow us where you can, and perhaps give us some ratings on your podcast player of choice. That's probably the most important thing you can do to help us out. So leave a review there, give us 5 stars, whatever you can do helps us. And also spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're playing Joe Devil's LoneWolf, and I think with a little bit of a twist. You're not gonna hear this kind of playthrough anywhere else, I don't think. And that now leads us on to the end of the episode club.
The last one standing.
You know what to do, just give us a comment. It has to be on our Discord server in the Last One Standing channel. So join there, follow the links in i2td.com to find us. You enter a comment using the password we're going to give you, and then we'll check out your comments and choose which one we like most.
Yeah, it proves to us that you are the ones with the most endurance points.
Yeah.
That have lasted all the way to the end of the episode.
The true Kai Lord.
Haha, yes. This season, perhaps it shouldn't be the Guido Masferrada, but the Kai Lords.
Perhaps, but it might get confusing.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have a password for us today, Nick?
I do. Password for this week is crowded. Or rather, crowded, but because it's got the word crow in it, so crowded.
Crowded, okay. So crowded because it's crowded with dead bodies.
Crowded with dead bodies, yeah. There's crows. So.
There's crows, and the inn was crowded and they didn't let us go in.
Yeah. So that's the password. Crowded.
Crowded. There, you heard it, so make sure you use it and come up with some witty and funny and whatever you want comments, to be honest. We'll read them all. Looking forward to those.
And that brings us now to the true end of the episode. We hope you've enjoyed this first episode in the new book, The Chasm of Doom. Hope to see you next week as we delve into the dungeon. The king has summoned Landar and Torin, the lone wolves, the last of the Kai Lords.
El
to his-
Guillo Masferrada. Ahora sí, los titles que son, yeah, it's true.
We will be happy to continue with all the songs.